and welcome to another Betfred Sports video right here in the Quest Media Network studio. Now, today we'll start with the UEFA Nations League Group A because England were beaten 1-0 by Hungary at the end of Tuesday's game in Munich against Germany on the back of that defeat. Peter, Gareth Southgate's come in for a bit of criticism following that defeat, saying he's quite negative. What did you make of it?
Well, it was a negative performance. England looked lacklustre, they looked leggy, they looked like a team who could do without playing that game. They put in a few experimental players to try things out, which you're bound to do in these Nations League fixtures, which are basically glorified friendlies, we all know that. And it didn't really come off at all. Hungary were the team were up for it, as they say, winning all the 50-50s, and it was no real surprise that they should get the winner. Debatable penalty, but you know you're going to get some other decisions like that. They can't be relying on the referee's decision. And in a strange way, a lot of the spotlight has switched to the way that the crowd, supposed to be no fans in for the punishment for the racism of the past, and then they bring in, they allow 30,000 fans in, mainly children, but it's the age of the children, of course, and they started booing the England squad when they were doing the knee. So that took a lot of the heat away from Southgate. But the fact remains, he's got to start pulling in some performances because there's only 4 or 5 games left now before the World Cup. And as you say, it's they're up against Germany on Tuesday in Munich.
Yeah, they certainly are. And you'd think with the squad he's got at his disposal, it's a real young attacking squad. Why is he not using that to his advantage? Why is he playing so defensively?
Well, that's his nature, isn't it? He's not an adventurous coach. Certainly not attack-minded. You can see that with the way that it's rare that he uses Trent Alexander at Liverpool. So he's the sort of player that most coaches would relish having his side. He seems as if he's trying to accommodate him, if you like. He's not a regular starter. So I think that is the way that he's going to set himself out. And the team never seemed to score that many goals, despite having Harry Kane in the squad, leading as captain. And I think it's the format he's used before. He quite likes to have 3 at the back, as he did against Hungary, but that didn't really work. The wing backs weren't getting up and down as much as you'd expect, and it was a disappointing performance all round. Betfred have Germany favourites to win 5-4 on Tuesday night. Werner and Harry Kane are both 4-1 to score first. And Tammy Abraham, who I think we should really start with and give Harry Kane a rest, he's 9-2 to score first. For England to win 2-1 is a 10-1 shot, and 2-0 to England, which is amazingly proving quite popular with the Betfred customers, is 16-1. It's all affected the World Cup odds. Yeah,
it certainly has, and we'll move on to the World Cup very shortly because Wales, they have secured their place in the 2022 World Cup in Qatar with that 1-0 victory over Ukraine in Cardiff on Sunday. Peter, I have to say, I thought Ukraine were the better side.
Well, they most certainly were in the second half. It wasn't the best goal that Gareth Bale scored. It was very, very fortunate. It was basically an own goal, although I noticed he's been credited with it. And I thought that Wales put up a typical Welsh performance. They were rallied by that tremendous crowd they had in Cardiff, and they were getting stuck in big time. I think they rattled the Ukrainians who didn't expect a game like that. And they went against the scripts, I suppose, the Welsh, because in the world stage, most people would have supported Ukraine with what's happening in their own country with the Russian invasion. So they had it all to do, but they achieved it. They've got in for the first time in 60-odd years in the World Cup, and there was mass celebrations in Wales. And it has affected the World Cup odds. Betfred now have Brazil as the favourites, 9-2. England just hanging on there as second favourites, 11-2. That surprises me. But you do get the patriotic punter who piles in on England. Wales, well, they've been cut slightly. They're 150-1 now to win the World Cup. France 6-1. Betfred have Spain 8-1. Argentina 9-1. I mean, for what it's worth, I think the Netherlands are a good value. 12-1 at Betfred to win the World Cup.
Well, there you go. If you're an optimist and you fancy Wales to go to Qatar and lift the trophy at the World Cup, they are now priced with Betfred at 150-1. Well, we're going to move now into some Betfred Super League news because there was a load of fixtures taking place at the weekend. St Helens beat Toulouse, so they are now 4 points clear at the top of the table. Peter, it's really opening up now.
Yeah, it is looking more and more likely, we're just into the second half of the season now, that it will be 4 grand final victories on the bounce for St Helens. They're now evens with Betfred to go and do that. Catalans 10-3, despite a defeat by Huddersfield. Wigan 4-1, third favourites. Hull FC 16-1. The big news, of course, was the defeat by Leeds on Warrington.
Yeah.
I mean, that was an absolute bombshell defeat. For Leeds to put 40 points on Warrington at home is incredible. Warrington now 20-1, so they're on the slide to win the grand final. Very, very disappointing that for Darryl Powell's men. I know Darryl Powell spoke to him a few times, and I know he will be getting stuck into that squad because that was not what you'd expect to be beaten by 40 points to 4 by Leeds. Another defeat for Salford. They're on the slide again. 100-1 now to win the grand final. Toulouse and Wakefield, they're 500-1, 250-1 respectively. So it's looking like another fourth, a history-making fourth grand final victory for St Helens.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like St Helens are destined for that 4th consecutive grand final triumph. Well, we always have big winners at Betfred, and this week's been no different. Peter, one of your punters, has scooped £30,000, so congratulations to him. Can you tell us a bit more about this?
Yeah, this is a guy from, he lives in Paisley in Scotland. He's called Andrew Pollock. I've spoken to him on just today, and he won £30,000 from a 60p bet on the Irish Lotto. All his 5 numbers came up. These numbers were picked 25 years ago, would you believe? And he's been putting this small amount on since. Anyway, he's won his £30,000. He's 53. He's an outdoor pursuits coach. Works for the local authority there, teaching rock and mountain climbing and canoeing. And he also spends a lot of his time in the outdoors, as you can imagine. And he celebrated predictably by going up Glencoe, and he spent 4 days in his brand new tent that he bought from his winnings. He got the best that money can buy in terms of rations. He's boiling the bag ones, the best ones you can get, he tells me. And some beer, of course. And he spent 4 days in his new tent, and he's thinking about buying himself, guess what, a new sleeping bag as well. So as Fred said, he's certainly hit the heights with that one.
There you go then. Congratulations to him. Enjoy your winnings. Now, we're going to move into some political news because this morning news has broke that there's been a vote of no confidence in Prime Minister Boris Johnson. Peter, it's looking like Bojo could finally be removed.
Yeah, well, it is looking a little bit like that, but I don't quite see it that way, and certainly the odds don't think that either. The money is on Boris to survive. The latest, and this is right up to date now, that's why I've been checking it, we've got Boris to win the confidence vote, that's 1-4, so it's looking like he'll win it. He'll get half of the 359 MPs votes. Boris to lose is 3-1. But a lot of people think he'll go anyway this year. It's 4-5 to go this year sometime. And before you ask me, the next Conservative leader, there's loads and lots of betting on that. Jeremy Hunt is now the Betfred favourite to be the new Conservative leader to replace Boris Johnson at some stage. He's 9-2. Liz Truss, she's been campaigning behind the scenes, if you believe all the reports. She's 7-1. Penny Mordaunt, she's 7-1, as is Tom Tugendhat. He's 7-1. Rishi Sunak, who was odds on at one stage
Yeah.
to be the new Conservative leader, he's massively out of favour now because of his reaction to the cost of living crisis and also the tax status of his wife. He's now drifted out to 9-1 to be the next Conservative leader.
Well, there you go. They are the latest odds regarding that political issue. And if you do fancy a punt on any of the upcoming sport-related markets, Betfred stores are now open, but you can also bet online via their app.